So I don't know if you guys have heard this, but after all the fishmen got fried in this chapter of One Piece, there's apparently a special going on at Long John Silver's. They're selling, fish and chips for cheap. Now, just as a FYI, I'm not getting sponsored by Long John Silver's, but hey, Long John Silver's, if you see this video, hit me up. This chapter blew my mind. It straight blew my mind. Like, it's too early in the morning for how good this chapter was. Like, don't get me wrong, I am always ready for One Piece. I'm always ready for quality content, quality chapters from Oda. He always delivers. But this chapter in particular, oh my goodness, it was fantastic and unexpected. Now, let's be real, okay? Let's all be real with each other. Even though we could see that the Straw Hat pirate flag is in the water floating in tatters, it does not automatically mean that everybody is dead. Now, some could be injured, possibly maybe someone is dead. But let's be 100% real, okay? This series is amazing. Don't get me wrong. It is definitely one of the best series I've ever seen. But even so, at the end of the day, our characters, they have plot armor. At the very least, Luffy and the Straw Hats, they have plot armor. Now, I'm not saying none of them can die. I'm not saying that one of them might not be severely injured or even dead. I'm just saying, for the most part, the likely possibility is that maybe they went underwater and Jinbei is saving them. That is my logical assumption. If anything is probably wrong right now, Sunny could potentially be dead. That's the only thing I could possibly think of at this moment. I don't think the Straw Hats are necessarily, quote-unquote, dead. But I just want to say, it's very obvious. Let's just be 100% real here. But even then, though, the ending is incredibly surprising, and it also proves once again how scary a Yonko really can be. See, ever since this arc started, and it started progressing, I started seeing many talking about Big Mom, saying, like, Big Mom is a big disappointment. Pun not intended. Many were saying Big Mom is not living up to the expectations of what a Yonko was. After everything we've seen from Whitebeard and, the War of the Best, Whitebeard was just savage. Devil Fruit-wise, what he was doing fighting admirals and stuff, the man was insanely OP. And after seeing how he was as Yonko with that title, many of us started putting our expectations on Kaido, Big Mom, like they have to be insane too just to compete with a man like this. And so when Big Mom's arc finally came around, Whole Cake Island, we finally got to see a glimpse into what Big Mom really is, or who she is. And a lot of people, I remember saying that she's a big disappointment. She is not Yonko material. I even saw people saying that. And I personally went out of my way to defend Big Mom. I've said that she's a really, really good, just character in general, and I feel like she's incredibly OP, because every time we have seen her, even though she was weakening and starving, she clearly was not really taking much damage at all. I mean, she got shot by Zeus and got back up again, and she was completely fine. I mean, there's just many instances where you could see that Big Mom was very durable, very strong, taking down ships. I mean, if you've seen the latest episode of One Piece, you'll also see once again a description on Big Mom and what she's even capable of. So, I mean, when you look at her character, she always had that hype build-up, but many didn't think she really was living up to the hype. And I'm very glad that this chapter happened, and that's where I'm kind of going with this segment. The reason why I'm glad this chapter happened is because, once again, it proves that when you enter a Yonko's territories, you should not get out unscathed. You shouldn't be able to get out and everything's going to be okay. Daijobu. Nothing should be like that. If you're going into a Yonko's territory, you should expect to get messed up. And that's what we can clearly see going on. This entire arc, the Straw Hats have not really been trying to take down Big Mom. It may have been an objective at one point with, Capone, but overall that was never going to happen. It was clear as day by the way this arc was constructed that it was not time for, the Straw Hats to take down Big Mom. That's way off in the future. And this was before Katakuri said, will you come back one day? It was just very obvious that it would not be the time to do this, because we already got a fight going on in Wano and then Kaido. It's just another big whole issue entirely. So Big Mom, she's definitely going to be saved for later. And after seeing what we see in this chapter, it just proves that Big Mom, they're not ready for her. I mean, you gotta think about it like this, okay? Big Mom was sitting there eating the cake the entire chapter. She wasn't actually even following the Straw Hats in this chapter. She was just sitting there stuffing herself full of cake and all that, and she was just singing. And you see the Straw Hats go down, just from Big Mom's crew alone. So, put this in perspective. Luffy's crew, they just got, basically devastated by Big Mom's crew. Not even her. She wasn't technically even there. Now, I know many are going to say, but Chibi, Big Mom was chasing the entire time. Yes, but Big Mom wasn't in her right state of mind. She was clearly just focusing on cake. She didn't care about anything else. It was clear as day. So, you can't really throw that argument in and say, oh, they were able to hold her off, but that was it. They were just stalling her. They weren't really doing anything else. She wasn't really trying to kill them in any way. So, when you think about it like that, just Big Mom, she's incredibly powerful, and she wasn't even there. And we saw what happened in this chapter. So imagine if she would have been there, it would have been end of story. End of One Piece. End of Luffy's journey to become the Pirate King. So, like I said, I'm glad this chapter happened, just letting us know how scary a Yonko really can be. So, let's get into some of the major aspects of this chapter. One of the big things I want to talk about is the art style, or the creepy artwork that Oda used for this chapter. Now, we've already seen this type of artwork used previously in this arc of Whole Cake Island, and in some aspects of, Thriller Bark, we also saw, a creepy art and stuff like that too. But when you see, like, the panel focusing on Big Mom eating the cake, and you see her mouth open up, and you have, like, the zoom in on her mouth, like, inside of it, you just see, like, this weird imaginary, like, fantasy place. It just kind of goes and gives us insight to what's really going on inside of Big Mom's mind. And one of the big themes of this arc of Whole Cake Island, it's always been about, like, psychological things, or mental problems, or, issues with how people view you, different things like that. This arc has been a lot about psychological elements, and I really like how this arc has constantly been about that, because it's one of my favorite things when it comes to manga, or any form of literature, actually. And seeing that scene, it lets us know the psyche of Big Mom. And she was just sitting there singing and all that, dancing, having this very eerie and creepy tune while just stuffing cake and feeling happy. Like, she even says this is the first time she's been this happy in a very long time, since she had her birthday cake a very long time ago. And as we know, this is when she ate her family, and they disappeared, but she was very happy in that moment when she had tears and eaten everybody. So it just proves that Big Mom hasn't been this happy, and she's just extremely happy, and how creepy her personality was in that moment while just stuffing her face. I like stuff like that, and it was really ominous of how Oda kind of set that up, and you see the children that were from Big Mom's past, like, she used to have around her all the time until she ate them, they were just dancing around her as she was eating cake as an adult. So she was kind of like having this hallucination around her. So, yeah, just want to point out, Big Mom is, in a way, hallucinating. Now, I don't know if this is because pudding was involved or whatever. I highly doubt that one. It could happen, but I doubt that. But this is something that's been a theme with Whole Cake Island, seeing characters a little bit crazy, or characters, being very self-conscious about how they look or whatever, and here you go. Now, besides that, let's also talk about Oven and what he did. So, I know I made a joke earlier on in this video, but Oven, once again, proving how OP he is, how strong he is, okay? He may not be at the level of, like, OP as Katakuri, but Oven is definitely someone you really shouldn't look down upon, because he did something that was pretty scary. I mean, he heated and boiled up the entire ocean, and it fried the fishmen in a way to where they had to get the hell out. They couldn't stay around anymore. That's just very impressive. I mean, this man boiling water like it's nothing, and they had to run. So his devil fruit, pretty freaking strong. Like, we already know it was established to be strong, but just seeing that alone really proves that if Big Mom's crew was to really come together and fight as one unit, honestly, they're gonna be hard to take down. I mean, when you compare all the devil fruits of Big Mom's crew against, like, Whitebeard's crew we saw, they are nothing in comparison to Big Mom's crew's, like, crazy OP devil fruits. Now, granted, Whitebeard's devil fruit, his durability was on a whole nother level, but even then, though, the devil fruits from these individuals of Big Mom's crew, her children and all that, they're just so insane. You're like, how would you fight this if they were all going at you at once? And I mean, we've even seen this when Luffy was struggling against Big Mom's crew a while back. So, yeah, it just puts in perspective. Okay, so, besides that, I guess let's also talk about what happened to Germa 66. So, Germa 66, they, also kind of in a way got defeated in this chapter. You see how, apparently Brule, she's, like, delivered some form of bullets that can actually go through Germa 66 armor, or, Sanji's, her siblings, it can actually affect them and hurt them, and you see a couple of them take damage and they start toppling over. You see the Germa, 66 Kingdom, getting shot at, judges just looking out and all that. It just shows that everything is really going bad. It's going to hell right now. Like, you know, it couldn't be much worse for everybody else right now besides Big Mom's crew. And I especially love how the entire chapter shifts tone, too. When, you know, Big Mom starts eating the cake and stuff, and you see her delightful face, it was like, oh, okay, so is everything gonna be okay? And then all of a sudden she starts singing. And if you have been paying attention to this arc, we have seen quite a few songs pop up. There's been a few singing segments throughout this arc, and usually when they happen, they're a very dark moment. And in this case, that's exactly what happened here. Big Mom started singing, and you see how all of the people on Big Mom's side, they started getting up, realizing that the country is fine. Big Mom is not going to go on a rampage and killing everybody. Everything is working out. And they're all standing back up, and they're just wiping everything out like it's nothing. Everyone, like German 66, now Straw Hats, Fishman, and all that, just wiping them out. And the tone was just getting progressively darker as it went on until finally the Sunny got shot. Now, like I said, we don't know if anyone's dead. We don't know if they're fatally injured. I'm going to take a logical assumption and assume that Jinbei probably rescued all of them and he's traveling them under the water to get them out. But the Sunny, I could definitely see that being destroyed, being completely gone, because it's already taken damage this arc. We've already seen the Sunny get pretty freaking messed up, and it going down, it would also signify, once again, how OP a Yonko is. And I know it's technically kind of like a rehash of losing Mary, but it still would be a very effective means of showing that you just don't mess with Big Mom. You don't mess with Kaido. You don't mess with Blackbeard. You don't mess with Shanks. You don't mess with the Emperors at all. You do, you're going to expect something bad to happen to you. And if something like this does happen, let's say the Sunny is gone, then imagine what's going to happen with Kaido. Because remember, we're going to be having a fight with Kaido. And Kaido technically wants to die, okay? So it's probably going to be a death match. Like, it's legit probably going to devolve into something like that. And I can definitely see someone potentially dying, even an important crew member. I mean, it's bound to happen eventually in One Piece to where one of our main characters are going to die. Now, I'm not saying the entire cast will, but it's bound to happen, just eventually. Maybe towards the end of the series, the epilogue, whatever it may be, someone is eventually bound to die. And there's been many theories over the years, and if this says anything, if Sunny does go down, then Kaido is probably going to be much worse. Probably one of them are going to die. One of the Straw Hats will. Now, many have said that it could potentially be Zoro. I've always thought it might be Usopp. I always thought he might be the one to die, and if not Usopp, I always thought maybe, Jinbei, ever since he was, like, you know, destined to join, I figured either he would lay down his life, Zoro, or, you know, Usopp. Those are always the ones that just stood out to me in terms of characters that might die. But, let's carry on with the chapter. So, anyways, the chapter overall, it's a pretty good chapter. I mean, I know many are going to be just completely shocked and surprised, and, I mean, I am too. It was a wonderful chapter the way it was done. I think Oda couldn't have done a better job. The only thing I'm a little bit upset with when it comes to this chapter is that it's on break next week. Yeah, we got a break next week, so if you're looking forward to a new One Piece chapter next week, yeah, you better cut that right there. It's not happening, because going on break. Now, just to make sure, I say this all the time, but I want to clarify for you newcomers out there, because I know many of you that probably watch this video might be newcomers to the channel. I'm not angry with Oda taking a break, or One Piece going on a break, okay? I understand this. I understand why he does it. I have no problem with Oda doing that. I've always said this, for any mangaka actually, even Togashi of Hunter x Hunter, I have no problem in taking breaks, and I have heard apparently we're going to be getting a hiatus soon, so that sucks. But I mean, still, I think overall, I'm willing to put up with it, okay? I'm willing to put up with it because, you know, there's some quality content that constantly comes out for One Piece, and if it's a good series, now I know if the writer's working their butt off, then, you know what, I can live with it. And since Oda's such a good writer, and One Piece is such a good series, I'm like, give the man a break. Let the man take a break. If he needs a break to be able to plan out the story, or rest, spend time with his family, whatever he needs to do, let the man do it. Don't give this man any flack. So, it sucks. It sucks we are left with a cliffhanger like this, but when it does finally return, we can savor it even more than we do right now. So, one last thing to talk about before I end this video, let's talk about the color pages. So, there was 2 color pages, actually. The Shonen Jump cover, if I'm correct, and then we had a double-page cover spread, or color cover spread, in this chapter as well. Now, the Shonen Jump cover, pretty nice, like it. It's kind of stereotypical One Piece type cover for Weekly Shonen Jump, but the next color spread, I love all the minks on it and all that. I especially love the way, you know, Carrot looks on the cover. I like the way Robin looks. It's a really nice cover. I just want to say, good job, Oda. beautiful cover, and I've always been a big fan of his, color spreads. I don't know, for some reason, he just always looked very nice to me, and it always shows that Oda can do a little bit of a different design with these color spreads than he normally does with his manga, and I've talked about this in the Katakuri fight. You know how Katakuri, how savage he looked, and how it made me wonder if Oda was to, technically write and draw another manga, I wonder how much his art would be different, because, since Oda started off with this One Piece type style of art, he's kind of been locked to that art style, and I wonder how different his art would be if he was to do, like, a different other manga or something, like even a seinen or something. I wonder how his art would really look. I've always been curious about that, and maybe one day we might find out. But with that, I think I'm going to end this video here. So, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like, and if you want to get notified whenever I upload a video, please click the bell icon down below. And I love you guys. Have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Good morning or good night, depending on whenever you watch this video. And Chibi out.